Hello YouTube, this is Hybelman here with the final part of my 2-bot combiner multi-force review. And this time I have Dash and Tacker. And like I said, these are the last two I'm going to be showing in my multi-force review, and then in my next video I'm going to be combining all 6 into Land Cross. Okay, I want to quickly talk about this set. Then I'm going to talk about their vehicle modes and then move on to their robot modes and their combinations. So, to start off, these two as a set are unique in the multi-force because, one, both of them are land vehicles. Dash is a little red 2-door car, and Tacker is a little green truck with tank treads in the back. They're the only two, like I said, that combine out of 2 land vehicles. The other 2 groups have Mach and Wing, respectively, which both turn into flying vehicles. Also, this is the only group that has a remold. Now, you could argue that, one of these is the original mold, one of them is the remold, but it's clear when you look at them that Tackle and Tacker, besides sharing a similar name, share a similar design. They have the same way that they have the 2 wheels in the front, being on their arms, as well as the same basic truck stocky design, which makes sense in the overall set because these two form the legs, and they need to be a little bit more symmetrical than the rest of the body. Another thing that these two do differently from the rest of the multi-force is in their vehicle modes they can incorporate all of their accessories. So for Dash, he has these 2 cannons on top. One of them is the hand cannon, that is Landcross's right hand, and the other piece is his robot mode cannon, which plugs nicely into the fist hole on the side, giving him 2 cannons as a car. For Tacker, it's the same thing. He has the other foot piece as a double-barreled cannon on his back, and his robot mode laser blaster fits in his little hand peg, which is facing up in this mode. Okay, moving on to the 2 individual toys. We have Dash, who I said before was a little red sports car type deal. So his transformation, similar to all the rest, you pull out his legs, straighten the arms, get these out of the way, separate his legs, and similar to what you do with Waver, you want to pull out these 2 toe pieces and fold them up, giving him, again, like I said with Mach, who also had the same toe pieces, that this gives him knees that bend forwards instead of outwards, which really only gives him that bending down pose. And pop up his head, insert his robot mode blaster, and there is Dash. Okay, now we'll move to Tacker. Tacker, like I said, is a little tank treaded truck, probably for military transport, I'm guessing. You don't even actually have to remove this, you can just rotate this around once his robot mode is done, so I'll do that to show you what I mean. You extend his legs, fold up his 2 arms, and then pop out his head, and like I said, just rotate. It may pop out, so it's not really that big of a deal, but rotate his blaster around, and we have Tacker in his robot mode. Now, like I said, you can debate over which of the 2 molds is better between Tacker and Tackle, but I think that I like the Tacker one better only because his toe pieces and his hands are faced the opposite way, so you don't get this same really wide-legged stance as you got with Tackle. You get more of a straight-legged, narrow opening between his legs. Now, before I get to combining these two, there's one more detail piece I want to focus on, and that is their head sculpts. I know this is a point I made in one of my previous videos, but I'm not sure if you could see all too well in those videos what I was talking about, so I'd like to show that again to make sure that I get my point across. So first I'm going to combine these two and then show you what I'm talking about with the head sculpts. So if you just get a quick close-up look at Dash's head, and just sort of keep that face in mind for when I show you his combined robot head. You flip him over, flip around his legs and his arms, and then you actually will fold these out to the sides to make room for his little hand pegs. He sort of has sculpted fists. You sort of have to imagine that those are fists, but oh well. And then swap his head for the other head. Now, this brings me to the point that I was making earlier. And I said in a previous video that for the combiners, the individual parts as well as their combined forms, the head sculpt basically gets larger as you go to the combined form and gets a little bit more detailed, but doesn't change that much. This is basically a larger and better detailed version of Dash's original robot head. And then you fold Tacker out of the way here, plug him on top, and give him his weapons right here. And here we have Dash Tacker from the Transformers Victory cartoon. Whoopsie. There we go. Now, like I was saying before, going between their small robot heads and their large robot heads isn't that big of a change. I tried to show you that with Dash, and it may or may not have been successful because I'm not sure if I got his head in the shot. So, I want to show you with Mach and Waver because they're part of the other two pairs that I reviewed, just to show you that it's pretty much the same across the Multiforce. So as you can see, he has a pretty tiny little head here with his eyes and the little visor. Oh, not visor, mouth plate, excuse me. And then, switching to his large robot head, you can see that while it does have more of this crest on top, the face detail is just larger. It's not incredibly different. And the same thing is true for Waver. This is his small robot head and face. And switching the detail here to his large robot head, it doesn't get that much different, just more detailed because you can make it out more clearly because there's more stuff to work with. Now the reason I'm bringing this up, I brought it up with Dash, Waver, and Mach, is because with Tacker, his head is the only one, for whatever reason, that undergoes a pretty dramatic change between small robot and big robot. This is his small robot head, and when you set him up for the combination head, you can see that his head gets dramatically different. Instead of that normal crest on top, you get a curved head with that little sigil thing on the front. His eyes change, but mostly it's just the head shape. I'm not sure why that is, but it's a pretty dramatic change. So let me just pop on Dash at the bottom here. You pretty much know how to transform all of them by now because they're all pretty much the same. You just flip around the legs exactly the same way you did with his larger robot mode. Whip his arms around, pop in his head, pop him on the bottom. Sorry, I'm doing this off, or mostly off camera, it's just I want to get it done quickly. And there you go. This is Tacker Dash. So that completes it that completes my reviews of the individual Multiforce members as well as their combinations. In my next video I will be doing Land Cross. So this is Highballman with Dash, Tacker, Tacker Dash, and Dash Tacker, and I am signing off.